from Thanksgiving till New Year's, they focus on studying international studies at Christmas around the world. And we did the same thing. My kids were interested in Japan. And so we went off that interest and we went off around the world and went, okay, so what are they doing in Japan for Christmas? And then you have so many good conversations, not only about culture and those things, but it's also in their area of interest. So they're more likely to dive into it. And then you can build in some of that holiday, what's spring in their holiday? Are they Christian, or are they just celebrating Christmas because the US does it? You have a lot of good conversations about that as well.
I agree that those conversations emerge from that. What also emerges from that is what I call kind of the rabbit hole effect, right? You go down the rabbit hole with these ideas. So it's like, let's run with Japan for a minute, right? If I do that with my son, and because he's curious about Japan because he's really big into Pokemon and anime. And so he wants to learn. So it's like, okay, let's learn about Japan. Okay, suddenly we're learning about, the Imperial Japanese a century ago. Then we're learning about samurais. Then we're learning about kamikaze fighters, which pulls me into Pearl Harbor, which, pulls me, and like, this is how we as adults learn, right? We're on Wikipedia, like clicking around all these articles, or on YouTube, going from one video
and we go, where did we start?
Yeah, and who cares where you started? Because you're learning a ton and it matters to you and it's engaging your curiosity. And so what's amazing about what I think Heather was her name and what you're sharing here is, like, to me, that's authentic learning. It's just, branching off into like, hey, this was interesting to me. Now I want to go down this path. Now I want to go down here. And I think that's the ideal opportunity with homeschooling, is to provide the freedom and flexibility to allow for that rabbit hole effect to happen. The opposite in the schools, right? It's this regimented approach where I think it inhibits deep learning, because it's like, okay, 45 minutes, the bell goes off, on to the next subject. And we're training kids to just have this superficial level treatment of this information, sapping their mental energy, so they can't really, they don't have the innate desire to go deeply on a particular topic because they've just been bombarded with all these like superficial increments of knowledge. To me, homeschooling allows children to authentically learn. Let them go, watch a YouTube video for an hour and a half if it's all about the aerodynamics of, the latest space shuttle. And I mean, because you can't count now how many people are in professions that have to do with things that they learned through this rabbit hole effect, because they just, one thing led to another, and then suddenly, wow, I'm really interested in this and I've got a knack for it. And if we don't allow our kids to experiment and experience learning that way, maybe we're depriving them of these cool, random, professions or pursuits or business opportunities or whatever that would come in their life.
Yeah, that was the case with my oldest. He went to college to be a biomedical engineer, but his hobby was 3D printing. And it just happened that his hobby is now his job in the medical device world. He actually designs with a 3D pen pieces that fit into people's jaws and skulls, and then they print them in 3D titanium in 3D printing. But had he not had that hobby and really known how to pursue all of that, because boy, I didn't teach him that, he wouldn't have been a candidate for this job. So yes, that it's just so important to know, to let your children know how to do that deep learning. And I think when kids say they don't like to learn, it's because they've never experienced learning at that level, that way I get to pursue what I want to know instead of what we're teaching them.
Exactly. I don't think any kid doesn't like to learn.